The reason why many U.S. Republicans oppose aid to Ukraine, according to CNN/WSJ, the U.S. Republican Party is changing when it once supported a strong globalization foreign policy and switched to supporting a more progressive approach. More transactional approach to U.S. obligations abroad. There is a simple reason why many American Republicans rejected Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's offer of billions of dollars in weapons and ammunition. Sending more American taxpayer money to a war on the edge of Europe is inconsistent with the America First stance of a party dominated by former President Donald Trump, according to CNN. Mr. Trump has led the Republican Party to break away from its internationalist past and is seeking to hinder current President Joe Biden's central foreign policy goal related to the conflict in Ukraine, while highlighted his failure to prevent a migration crisis at the U.S. southern border. Republican supporters of Mr. Trump focused on a short but determined argument that the United States should not spend billions of dollars abroad related to the Russia-Ukraine conflict when Washington is facing a crisis in border with Mexico, which could dash hopes of receiving more help from the U.S. for Ukraine. According to the Wall Street Journal, for months, Republicans' blocking of a new military aid package for Kiev has caused a severe shortage of artillery ammunition in Ukrainian units. At the meeting, Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida, a strong Trump supporter, claimed U.S. aid to Ukraine is currently circling the world's money laundering zones and warned that it was spending huge sums of money on a conflict without end. When asked why so many Republicans now oppose funding for Ukraine, Senator McConnell pointed to the isolationist spirit that has long been a force in American politics, especially was before World War II and Mr. Trump's influence. Our potential presidential nominee is not enthusiastic about helping Ukraine, Mr. McConnell said. Mr. Trump's influence among the Republican base also explains why some senators who favored more aid to Kiev voted against the border security bill that included the funding for the armed forces of Ukraine. This stems from a shift by the Republican Party from principles that once favored a strongly globalized foreign policy toward a more transactional approach to obligations of America abroad, fueled by growing discontent among progressive Republican voters after years of economic crisis and costly foreign wars. In addition, many Trump supporters oppose additional funding for Ukraine, arguing that this approach is part of the need to focus on China. The U.S. must focus more on East Asia. That will be the future of U.S. foreign policy in the next 40 years, and Europe must be aware of that reality, said Senator J.D. Vance, a Republican from Ohio. According to Elbridge Colby, the leading Republican strategist and Assistant Secretary of Defense in the Trump administration, the decline of the U.S. industrial base and the U.S.'s inability to quickly replenish ammunition stocks have grants to Ukraine have limited America's foreign policy options. Polls also show declining public support for American financial contributions to the war, especially among Republicans. About 55% of Americans said in a recent CNN poll that the U.S. Congress should not provide additional funding to support Ukraine. The survey found that 71% of Republicans oppose the new aid package. He fiercely mobilized opponents of aid to Ukraine in the U.S. When British Foreign Secretary David Cameron, who once served as Prime Minister, visited Washington last month, he spent time persuading Republican Congressman Taylor Greene to support Ukraine. This congressman is strongly opposed to continued U.S. military aid to Kiev. Boris Johnson, another former British Prime Minister, wrote that Donald J. Trump's re-election to the White House would not be a good thing. Bad, as long as Mr. Trump helps Ukraine. I simply cannot believe that Mr. Trump will abandon the Ukrainian people, Mr. Johnson wrote in a column for the Daily Mail newspaper, like a personal appeal to the American candidate. British diplomats said Mr. Cameron and other senior officials prioritized reaching out to Republicans who opposed further aid to Ukraine. A senior diplomat, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said Britain realized that this aid was not as instinctive to the Americans as it was to the British. Unlike in the U.S., where Ukraine is being pushed aside by the Republican Party to push the border issue, Britain has still firmly supported Ukraine since Russia opened its branch. Special military operation. That political consensus reflects public opinion in Britain. According to a survey conducted by the Foreign Policy Group in July 2023, about 68% of British people support military aid to Ukraine. Many Britons see the conflict in Ukraine, just a 3-hour flight from Britain, as taking place right on their doorstep, and that support reflects fears that if Russia wins on the battlefield in Ukraine, security will be threatened. Of Europe and Britain will be threatened. According to CNN/WSJ,